For our staff, probably I was the only one, just because I had seen him play there on the grassroots circuit that he played on, which was the Under Armour circuit. And you saw a guy who is a basketball player. He's a guy that can guard multiple positions. He's a guy that can play multiple positions on the offensive end. And, I think for us, whenever we're recruiting backcourt guys, you always want someone that can create for themselves, but first and foremost create for others, because of what we're going to have here and the type of guys that we're going to have and the type of players that have the type of dreams that they do. You need guys that can, create for other people first, but are also a threat that they have to be guarded.
So are you along the way, are you kind of, as he starts to get healthy, are you like nudging people saying like,
No, I mean, and we all watched him eventually, with the technology now that you have with, with Synergy and all the other types of ways that you can watch, grassroots or high school basketball. We all co-signed on Jamal. We all were excited about Jamal, and I don't think anyone here is surprised that Jamal is having some good moments and flashes. I think he's aware, as well as everybody else, that this is still a process for him, and part of that is getting him the best shape of his life, which has been hard because he has been hurt. And we talked even a little bit the other day. I mean, this has been a really good time for Jamal. When he got fully healthy was right there at the beginning of December, when we went into that period where we had practices, game on Saturday, and that allowed him to put in some extra work. Was at the end of the semester where classes were kind of tailing off and you just had to study, and he could put in some extra work, which he did. And now you kind of get into a different rhythm with the conference play, and you're going to have a day off on Wednesday, which you need to take advantage of, have a really good practice like we did on a Thursday, and now you get into game prep again on a Friday or a Monday, having whatever day the game is. So I think we're excited for him, but I think that we still are just seeing the beginning and scratching the surface of what he can become.
Joe, where are you guys at overall as a team in the developmental curve of forming the team, the process?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing that we always say. I think we want to be our best version tomorrow night, and that's basically who we're striving to become today in practice. And both as individuals and collectively, we need to be our best today and then carry that over to tomorrow. I think Coach is really working with the guys with their roles and making sure that he's continuing to be clear with them, that they're continuing to understand what is being asked of them. And then also that he is clear with the team on how he sees our best version tomorrow night, then Tuesday night, then Saturday, and so on and so forth as the weeks go on. As it is here, these parts of our teams change, they evolve, guys step up, maybe some guys step back for a little bit, and for us, the strength of who we are is that we do have depth and we have guys that are continuing to work. And I think you see that with a guy like Jamal. I think you see it with a guy like Ashton. You see it with a guy like Emmanuel that, have had some periods where they were, so, and then other times they were okay, and now they're playing really well. I think the great part for us and our coaching staff thinks is, okay, who's going to be the guy that steps up today in practice, or who's going to be the guy that steps up tomorrow in the game. And that's the exciting part about the process, as you ask, is you're just kind of waiting to see who's next.
What factors have led to Ashton's productivity on offense, especially the last couple of games?
I think the number one thing is he's continued to work. As with a lot of the guys on our team, this group of guys loves to work. These guys came here because they knew that it was going to be a process. They knew that they were going to have the access to get in the gym 24 hours a day. They knew that they were going to have the facilities. The blueprint has been here for guys before them. And the guys that come here are like Ashton. They know that they aren't a finished product. And they're coming here to work. They're coming here to work every day. They're coming here to be coached. They're coming here to work against other good players, and Ashton, from the time that he stepped foot on campus, has embraced that. I think someone even asked the other day on the podcast that we do with TJ and on Coach's website, what's the best battle that we have, and it's Ashton and Emmanuel. And I don't think it's any surprise that those two guys are starting to go in a direction of positive playing time and productive minutes and efficient minutes. But Ashton, is a guy who's worked. He works by himself. He works, with other people. He's a guy that takes advantage of all the coaches here, Coach Cal, Coach Payne, Coach Barbie, myself. He's a guy that loves to watch film. He's a guy that's trying to always learn. And I think that comes from having Shea Alexander go through what he went through last year, and now he says, okay, all right, if that guy did it and look at where he is, I want to be where he is, much like the 10 other guys in that locker room. So I think for Ashton, he's a guy that's seen it work, and he's following in the footsteps of a group of other guys that wanted to do the same thing.
Ashton has started to kind of let it fly a little bit every now and then on the jump shot.
I don't know about that.
I was gonna say, not a lot, but a little more, it seems like, and maybe a little more confidently. Something you guys are wanting him to do just to get him comfortable. I know that's not his strength.
Yeah, I don't know that we're wanting Ashton to let it fly. And I think that we want him to be confident. I know that we want him to be ready to shoot balls. But like I said, earlier, guys that play here have to be able to keep teams honest. I think we've seen teams in the past lay off of guys, and what it's done is it's clogged the paint, and it's really bogged us down offensively. And I think for us to be our best, and most efficient, and so does obviously the rest of our staff, we've got to have 5 guys on the floor that are threats, and whether that's Ashton driving to create for others, him stepping into a jump shot and shooting one confident, that's got to be who he is, not only for here but the next level as well, and that's something that we talk about daily with him and with everybody else.
He's had 19 steals in the last 4 games, I believe. How does that number play on your mind, and why is he so good?
Yeah, that's the guy that you want on your team, that you want disruptive, 94 feet, that you have, the opposing point guard looking over their shoulder and other guys wondering, okay, where's this guy at? That's an unsettling feeling for a point guard to have somebody that can come after you for as long as Ashton can and pick you up full court. And he's a presence when he's off the ball. Coach is really working with him on trying to find steals, get deflections off the ball, which is difficult for young guys. In the process, as we talked about, is he's learning to play off the ball. He's such a menace on the ball, and he's such a bulldog on the ball. Now the work is really to become more effective and have a presence off the ball.
You're playing a team that doesn't have a point guard, right? So how delicious is that possibility?
I think they have good basketball players, and however they decide to bring the ball up the floor, that's something that we'll have to obviously adjust to. And I think Ashton's going to impose his will on the game, whoever we play, whether they have a point guard or whether they have a non-traditional point guard. I think that Ashton's going to be a guy that's going to, like I said, impose his will and get our team going and be disruptive.
Are deflections and steals more important when you might have a little less rim protection with DJ and Reed in the back?
Well, I think Coach would say, the defense starts with the point guard. And I think that if you have a guy that can get after the point guard and make him nervous, make him turn his back, turn his shoulders, now they're not running offense, at a quick pace. They're not getting what they want, when they want, where they want it. That's something that we've worked on, with our wings, with guys like Keldon and guys like Tyler, of making catches difficult. So now you've got a guy on the ball that's being disruptive. Now you've got guys generally in the areas where the first pass is, being entered, making it difficult. And so you're going to get deflections there. So now teams are running their offense further away from the basket, where, yeah, there's more of a time to react. There's more closing time when you don't have maybe the best rim protection that we've had in the past. But I think our rim protection is getting better, and I think that's why Cal keeps talking about Nick Richards as an important part of this team and the development as we move forward. I think EJ's in that same boat. He has a little bit more of a knack for blocking shots, a little bit more of a thirst to do so. So I think as like I said, as we take the floor today and ultimately, compete tomorrow, you want to see guys doing that, and that starts with Ashton being disruptive.
Joel, there's been a lot of talk about a lot of your guys in the gym voluntarily, extra time. How important is that in the overall process, going to March?
As a basketball player, you can't count on anybody else to give you confidence. And that comes from you being in the gym by yourself, with your teammates, with other coaches, to where when you step on the floor for practice, when you step out on the floor for a game, whether it's the first offensive possession or the opportunity for a game-winning shot, that you've put the time in. Our guys are supremely confident because they put time in. And I think that's been pretty well documented since this group got here in June. This group loves basketball. They like to watch basketball on TV. They watch themselves. They watch other players. And I think that the best basketball players, much like you might say, the best athletes, the best, sports journalists have a curious mind. I'm not sure about you, Jerry, but I know the rest of the group might, in terms of you always look to see, how others are doing it. Whether it's a more seasoned veteran like yourself and a younger member of the media that is trying to do something. I think our guys are always watching NBA players. They're watching other great college players to see how can I become my best, or if they're doing something that works, why can't I do that? So our group is confident, but it's because they work. It's not because of Coach Cal, Coach Payne, Coach Barbie, myself, or anybody else. It's because they just work.
My curious mind wondered about the last game. Cal afterwards didn't seem very pleased, and he pointed out several areas where execution, going under the screen. How much of that is this youth, evolution thing?
I think it's a ton of it is youth, because I think that it's guys that are having to trust themselves. I think part of confidence comes on the defensive end too. We've talked about defensive confidence here, and that's the fact that when you step out on the floor that you can guard the basketball. We talked about being disruptive. Part of that is being confident, the same way on the offensive end. And our guys just have to learn to take everything in, and I think they're doing a good job. It's just, these guys are in a new situation every single time they step out. It's an opponent that is wanting to beat their brains in. It's an opponent that's wanting to win for the first time against Kentucky, maybe in their career. It's a team that's trying to win at Rupp Arena. And we've had to have some conversations about that, about who we're playing, and how important it is to everybody else. It has to become that important to us every single possession, not just at the end of the day.